प्रायेण अल्प आयुषः सभ्य प्रायेणाल्पायुष सभ्य प्रायेणाल्पायुषः सभ्य कलो अस्मिन् युगे जनः कलावस्मिन् युगे जनाः कलावस्मिन् युगे जनाः मंदाः सुमन्दः मतयः मंदाः सुमन्दमतयो मंदाः सुमन्दमतयो मंदभाग्याः हि उपद्रुताः मंदभाग्या हि उपद्रुताः मंदभाग्या हि उपद्रुताः प्रायेणाल्पायुषः सभ्य कलावस्मिन् युगे जनाः मंदाः सुमन्दमतयो मंदभाग्या हि उपद्रुताः प्रायेणाल्पायुषः सभ्य कलावस्मिन् युगे जनाः सुमन्दमतयो मंदभाग्या हि उपद्रुताः प्रायेणाल्पायुषः सभ्य कलावस्मिन् युगे जनाः मंदाः सुमन्दमतयो मंदभाग्या हि उपद्रुताः प्रायेणाल्पायुषः सभ्य कलावस्मिन् युगे जनाः मंदः मंदमतयो मंदभाग्या हि उपद्रुताः प्रायेणाल्पायुषः सभ्य कलावस्मिन् युगे जनाः मंदाः सुमन्दमतयो मंदभाग्या हि उपद्रुताः. Word to word meaning: prayena, almost always, alpa, meager, ayushah, duration of life, sabhya, member of a learned society, kalo, in this age of Kali, quarrel, asmin, herein, yuge, age, janaha, the public, mandaha, lazy, sumandamatayaha, misguided, mandabhagyaha, unlucky, he, and above all, upadhrutaha, disturbed. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation: O learned one, in this iron age of Kali, men have but short lives. They are quarrelsome, lazy, misguided, unlucky, and above all, always disturbed. Translation with repetition: O learned one, in this iron age of Kali, men have but short lives. They are quarrelsome, lazy, misguided, unlucky, and above all, always disturbed. So we'll discuss on the purport. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vancha kalpaturubhyascha cha kripa sindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavnebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Mukham karoti vachalam pangum langayate grim yat kripatam deshi gurum dinataranam. So the first para, the devotees of the Lord are always anxious for the spiritual improvement of the general public. Now where was this mentioned? Prabhupada begins the first line, this very important nature of devotees. So which verse? Which verse? Tatra tatranjayushman bhavata yad vinishchitam. So he is saying easily what is the absolute and ultimate good for the people in general. Ultimate good. So my understanding from this verse, what I understand is why 2 times they have said tatra tatra. Tatra tatranjasa yushman bhavata yad vinishchitam. Vinishchitam we see also coming in Bhagavad Gita. Similar word. Anybody remembers which verse? 2.7. What is mentioned there? Nishchitam. There is Nishchitam. Many places Nishchitam, Arjuna is urging the Lord to give ascertain what is the highest. Now here tatra thereof 2 things a bit to be understood. So Shreyaha and also absolute. So where was the word absolute used? Ekantataha. So tell us what is absolute and what is the ultimate good. So we know absolute truth involves everything. That means Krishna is the energies. But this next word also is very important. Shreyas. That means ultimate good for the people in general. So this is the nature. This is the nature of a sadhu. A sadhu is very much interested in helping, not upar se, but he is really intending to help the general public because he knows the public is actually, or the general public is bereft of spiritual improvement. Everybody is just geared up for material acquisition, driven by the lower modes of Rajoguna and Tamoguna. People are being pushed by greed, by kama, lusty desires, to achieve such short-term goals. Whereas in various places we see what Srila Prabhupada says, Shreyas means long-term benefit. And in that long-term benefit also it is mentioned, this adjective has been used, ultimate good, isn't it? And Prabhupada of course gives the entire gist in the purport that without the mercy of an acharya, without taking shelter of an acharya, one can never come to the absolute and ultimate good. So this word here, this preposition which is used here, and absolute and ultimate good for the people in general, is very important to understand. As we saw, before Suta Goswami arrived there, the sages were all engaged in what? What kind of sacrifice? Sacrifices. That is mentioned in text number 5. Ta ekada tu muneha pratar hutahutagneha satpritam sutamasinam. That's when they welcomed Suta Goswami. Satpritam. Prabhupada mentions with due respect, and Papruchur idamadarat, with a lot of regard and respect, they welcomed him. Now in this verse here we can see devotees of the Lord are always anxious. That means one of the qualifications of a devotee is he is anxious for the spiritual improvement of general public. If we want to really become devotees, we should recognize and realize we cannot be self-centered. No, my sadhana, my rest, that's it. I don't care of the public, I don't care of anyone. Wherever they go, let them go. I have got the highest benefit. I'll chant Hare Krishna and go back to Godhead. So from this very one sentence, lot of things are to be understood. We have another thing Prabhupada says, always anxious. Anxiety is not bad. Let us recognize and realize this. But anxiety which is meant for sense gratification is horrible, because the results are, it lets you or pushes you into depression. When it's self-centered anxiety, that means material anxiety. Because what do you mean by material anxiety? What do you mean by material anxiety?
For sustenance.
For sustenance. Mangal Narsima? Correct. Independent nature. One who is always thinking about, he is the only enjoyer, he is the owner of everything, he is the well-wisher of everyone. That's where it is called as material anxiety. Why do you think people are running big MNCs and big corporates, yet they have sufficient money? Because many people, when we've met, they feel very proud of saying, we employ 500 people. We are running 500 families' houses. So that's basically, they want to become well-wishers. They want to take up the position of the Lord, because the Lord is the maintainer. So they are feeling that we are maintaining so many families. They come here to work, but we are maintaining. And same corporate magnates, when they find the expenditures going across their profits, they start laying off people. Like recently it has come, Sony, the very famous company, they have decided to lay out about, I think, 700 to 1,000 people. And their chairman is telling, or the CEO is telling that, let them start driving Uber and all that, we don't know what they will do. So see, the nature of a karmi, it's very clear. Prabhupada says from the Bhagavatam, they can never have good qualities. Apparently looks like they have good qualities, but in reality they do not have good qualities, because as long as their sense gratification is being met, they will cooperate with everyone. The moment their sense gratification is hindered, immediately they are ready to even kill their own children. Any example? Hiranyakashipu was ready to kill his son, Prahlad. So anxiety must be taken, but it is spiritual anxiety. Spiritual anxiety means the glory is glorifying the Supreme Personality of Godhead, glorifying our spiritual master, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who's worked so hard to improve the spiritual improvement of the general public. He's worked so hard, he's given his entire blood. You can say Prabhupada has given his time, blood, everything. So this is one aspect we should learn from the purport, that if we want to become devotees, if we want to go back home, back to Godhead, if we want to be counted in the list of devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we should take anxiety of the spiritual movement of the general public. Going ahead, when the sages of Naimisharanya analyze the state of affairs of the people in this age of Kali, they foresaw that men would live short lives. That's why, what is the word used there in the translation? Sorry, verse. Alpa Ayushaha. So they foresaw that they would live short lives, and almost always these are the things which will be disturbing them. Meager duration of life. Now there are reasons also given why they would live a short life. Very beautifully Prabhupada has analyzed this for our benefit. And see, what is their statement? They foresaw that men would live short lives. When was the Bhagavatam spoken? 5,000 years back. And just imagine, they're able to, with precision. Nowadays we talk about precision in engineering. A lot of things, we take a lot of measurements, we ensure that things are properly so that the product comes out good. Here also we can clearly see with precision They are actually three Kal Yajnas. They can see the past, present and future with precision. Not that with some 5%, 10%, 90%. In Kali Yuga, the duration of life is shortened not so much because of insufficient food. Generally, we see that life is short when a person is not properly fed. And without energy, he cannot do any other activity, isn't it? So the machine needs fuel. So the basic fuel is food. And Prabhupada very clearly says it's not because of insufficient food, there's sufficient food, but because of irregular habits. A few days back, one devotee was telling me, Prabhu, if we irregularly eat, it will affect our health. It's a fact. Every 2 hours, people are having tea. Every 2 hours, every 3 hours, they are having some snacks. And then when the time comes for a lunch or dinner, they are not hungry. They skip that. Then it goes on like that, and irregular habits are formed. So it will create a lot of other health issues, including devotees. Devotees also should be very careful not to have irregular food habits. That doesn't mean that no, if I eat at 1 o'clock, you also must eat at 1 o'clock. No, it's not necessary. You should have a proper bodily clock, and according to that bodily clock, you can manage. You should know whether when you eat this particular food item, will you be able to digest it? That's most important. By keeping regular habits and eating simple food, again see what Prabhupada is saying. By keeping regular habits and eating simple food, any man can maintain his health. So this is a good remedy for all of us, especially since we're all struggling. Some of us are struggling with health issues. Recently, Amita Sankru sent that scoreboard, score chart. Only one devotee sent me, others I don't know whether they've checked their health. So you can cross-verify, check whether you're healthy. So by any man, so what is the essence here? Regular habits and eating simple food. Like we have a folk department. For boys, we may have some kind of alluring items, but it doesn't mean that we should eat that. नहीं प्रभु हम उनके साथ नहीं खाएंगे तो फिर बॉन्डिंग नहीं हो. It's not like that. In fact, they may appreciate that you're eating simple food. So let us be very careful. Especially the sugary items are very dangerous. It's poisonous. Too much sugar affects the body. It makes you lethargic, and will go and affect other parts of the cells of the body. So one needs to be very careful. There's ample videos made in the YouTube how sugar is not good. Overeating anything is not good. So by keeping regular habits and eating simple food, so what is that simple food? Basically simple food means that which you can easily digest. In one place, in one lecture, Prabhupada was talking about how we should become internally and externally clean. So internally clean means regular bowel movements also, Prabhupada says. We should have regular bowel movements, not irregular bowel movements. So regular bowel movements means you should be able to eat such kind of food which you are able to digest. And Prabhupada says that, again he repeats, simple food. Like vegetables, fruits, not complicated foods, like this refined flour, very dangerous. It's not good at all. Though for the tongue it may be very good, it will affect your health in the long run. Eating refined flour items, not good. At least not for us. Overeating, over-sense gratification. So overeating means anything we see, we tend to go for more and more and more. And somewhere in the heart, something, Paramatma is giving indication. I think it is enough, but we are not able to accept that indication. That means actually greed. That's why Prabhupada says, if you don't accept the indication or the direction or the dictation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, you will be forced to accept the dictation of lust, greed, anger, avarice, madness, these things will push us to act. In the sixth chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, text number 6, clearly the purport Prabhupada raised that. Over sense gratification, that means which is more than to keep the body and the soul together, is over sense gratification. Over dependence on another's mercy. So basically that's one aspect which it could mean, or especially in Kali Yuga, since it's an iron age, people have to work, and sometimes devotees have to work for karmis, and we don't know how they're earning that money. So according to that, what we get paid, that also could affect our consciousness. So that is how over dependence on another's mercy, without we thinking that if I don't work for this particular person, I may not survive. So all these kind of aspects are there. Not being bold to depend on the Lord. So that is also one. Dependence on another's mercy is okay, but Prabhupada is saying over dependence on another's mercy. Another way of over dependence on another mercy is like taking a lot of loans. Another aspect of seeing the same thing. You take a lot of loans is basically you're taking it from one place, a bank, but it's money of so many people. So when you take that loan, to fill another loan, you take another loan, like that. It's a cascading effect, and because of such cascading effect, one becomes very anxious. Material anxiety enters his mind, and he's always disturbed. So we are always connecting to the first line. Prabhupada says devotees of the Lord are always anxious. That means opposite, materialists are always anxious. For what? Material improvement. And for material improvement, they try so many things, and that's how it's creating over dependence on another's mercy. And artificial standards of living sap the very vitality of human energy. Therefore, the duration of life is shorter. Japanese, it is said they live very long lives. It is said one of the aspects which is seen is, of course, older Japanese. Their work culture was very systematic. Their food is very systematic. So we can see all these things Prabhupada is mentioning in the purport here very clearly. And then in another place in the Bhagavatam, what is the use of so many long duration of life if you don't know the goal of life? So that also is a very important aspect. What's the use of living 100 years or more than 100 years when you really don't know for what human life is meant for? Human life is meant for self-realization. The people of this age are also very lazy, not only materially but in the matter of self-realization. That means Prabhupada is also saying materially also they are lazy. Because there is no proper structure, there is no proper Varnashrama structure, so there is no proper understanding of what their duties are. So in that sense, very lazy. Ek activity karna hai, to somebody will send you from one table to another table to another table. They keep saying, no, it's his work, his work, his work. Like that the work goes on. And you get, everything gets very elongated. So materially that sense is lazy. But in the matter of self-realization, like we've seen, we invite a lot of youth, we invite a lot of families for our programs. We call them, literally, putting so much energy in everything, but then we find the output is very less. At times even devotees become very disgusted or disappointed. Prabhu, kya hai ye? Itna humne mehnat kiya, people did not come. So that's the nature of Kali Yuga. We have to put our efforts and leave it to the Lord. So that also gives us another aspect of understanding the principles of Bhagavad Gita. That you are not the owner. You are not the one who sanctions the results. Krishna sanctions the results. Human life is especially meant for self-realization. That is to say, man should come to know what he is. Now Prabhupada says what are the three aspects needed for self-realization. Very beautifully Prabhupada is mentioning what he is. That means who am I? Who mentioned this? Who asked this question to whom? Sanatan Goswami asked to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Ke ami? what is the world, what the world is. So we see a lot of dualities in this material world: rich, poor, happiness, distress. So what is this world? Kemone tapatraya. Why are people suffering? Why are the threefold material miseries affecting us? And what is the supreme truth is? The three aspects: who am I, or what he is, what is this material world, what is this prakriti, and what is the supreme truth. Supreme truth means the control of both energies, the superior and the inferior energies. Human life is a means by which the living entity can end all the miseries of the hard struggle for life in material existence, and by which he can return to Godhead, his eternal home. So Prabhupada is talking about root cause analysis and root cause solution. So root cause solution is savai pumsa paro dharma yato bhaktir adokshaje ahetuki apratiyata ye atma suprasidati. So if you search in the folio for Atma Suprasidati, you'll find a lot of verses like that. Every verse is indicating to pure devotional service. Devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the only means by which we can uproot the material miseries from the root. That is already mentioned in which verse? Anybody remembers? Verse number, text number? We read that. Vedyam vastavam atra vastu shivadam tapatrayon moolanam. So Prabhupada writes in word to word meaning: tapatraya, threefold miseries, unmoolanam, causing uprooting of. And what will cause? Śrīmad Bhāgavatam mahamuni krite kim va pare ishvaraha sadhya ridhi avarudhyate tatra krithivir shushubis takshana. This, without delay, hearing of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam will uproot the threefold material miseries, because Śrīmad Bhāgavatam inspires the hearers and the reader to engage in pure devotional service. That's the purpose of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. To make us attracted to Krishna by hearing the glories of Krishna, the qualities of Krishna, knowing our eternal relationship with Krishna, and working on that platform of that relationship with Krishna. Reading further. But due to a bad system of education, men have no desire for self-realization. So Prabhupada is giving one of the most major reasons why people have no urge for self-realization is because of the bad system of education. In the material education, which Bhaktivinoda Thakur actually says is Vidya Vilase. So it's Jada. It's just talking about matter. It has no inspiration to talk about spirit, living spirit. So it's very unfortunate. Prabhupada says the bad system of education incites no desire for self-realization. And it's a fact. Every student is thinking, if I do not get proper CGP, if I do not get a job, what will happen to all this investment which has been done by the parents? And there are debates also. Indians won't debate much, but Americans are debating. What is this school system, school education? What is the value of such education? Certain subjects are worthless in the future of a person. And whereas if we see the Varnashrama education, the Gurukul system, it is so simple, so nice, that it was based on guna, the quality of the individual. That's how they would be taught a particular karma. Guna karma vibhagasha. Even if they come to know about it, they unfortunately become victims of misguided teachers. What is the word used here for misguide? Sumanda Matayaha. Mat basically means opinion. So Sumandaha means very bad opinion. People start following bad opinions. And they really don't know that they are following somebody's opinions. So that's why Prabhupada says misguided teachers. Mataya means that guidance which is given by people who do not know the goal of life. And that clearly says that even if they come to know that goal of life is Godhead or spiritual realization, they are being cheated by misguided teachers. Because they don't know the absolute truth. They don't have a realization of it. But they are teaching about, okay, we know the good. The Supreme Personality is just, some dot. Or he's some light. See, this is going on in the name of religion. In Kali Yuga, this is what further Prabhupada talks very strongly about these things. In this age, men are victims not only of different political creeds and parties. Anything that happens in the country, some political angle is given to it. People start coming on, congregating, talking about it so much. Unnecessary talking on useless subject matters saps the very vitality of human life. But also many different types of sense gratificatory diversions. Now, what are those diversions? These are certain things which we also should be very careful of. If we are preaching to youngsters or families, we should clearly talk about this verse and tell them, there are a lot of sense gratificatory diversions in their lives. One, Prabhupada says, such as cinema. People have become so addicted to cinema, and cinema has come right in their hands. So just take some time out and start watching something. So cinemas don't have to come from big production houses. People have started making cinemas in their house itself. You get a mobile and you start shooting some reels, so-called reels and all this kind of. Nothing but cinemas, short cinemas. Sports. So Prabhupada in the West, Prabhupada opened that storefront. There he mentioned that disciples are supposed to follow certain rules. In that, Prabhupada mentions not indulging in frivolous sports. Frivolous sports basically means materially and spiritually there is no advantage. And for us devotees, we have no need of engaging in any of these sports. Like because of our previous habits, it could be that we are attracted to certain kind of sports. Could be like cricket or volleyball or so many things. The moment we start seeing some youngsters playing, our old habits start coming up. We start envisioning ourselves also playing there. Mentally we start doing these things. Vishaya vinivantarte niraharasya de. So we can be saved from such victimization of Maya only by keeping ourselves fully engaged in devotional service. That's essential. Gambling, moment you open mobile, Dream 11, this 11, that 11, so many things people are. Everybody wants them to invest, but they know they're not foolish to invest there. So all these cine actors are the ambassadors of such gambling sites, such gambling pursuits. So we should have no attraction to such people at all. If in our previous ashram we had certain kind of attraction, we should give up such attraction, understanding they're all Kali Chelas. Each one of them. Though apparently looks like one may be very good in one particular field, but the next moment we see in another field is the same. So why do we need a stamp of such people? When we are preaching, better not to use, because to relate with the material world, we tend to say their names, but we should have understanding that these are not our ideals at all. In fact, if we can bring the public or the audience to appreciate the personalities given in the Bhagavatam, in the Bhagavad Gita, that would be real preaching. For that, we have to read about them. That inspires us to read about them, isn't it? Then there are clubs, mundane libraries. Mundane libraries basically means all on mundane subject matter. Bad association, smoking, drinking, cheating, pilfering, bickerings. ये ठीक नहीं है, वो ठीक नहीं है. These are all bickerings, and so on. Can somebody find out what is pilfering? Pilfering. Their minds are always disturbed and full of anxieties due to so many different engagements. People don't have time. So much work is there. What is their work? They are watching so many things on the mobile. So busy. In this age, many unscrupulous men manufacture their own religious faiths. Now, this is where I was talking about. So, pilfering means to steal something in small quantity or of little value, especially from the place where you work. So, this is the reality. Shudras. Shudra mentality is this only. Prabhupada in one place says, oh, earlier big man, Jamindars used to allow this kind of things. Because their nature, it is there in their nature. If they do not steal, they're not normal. It's in their nature. So that has become the nature in Kali Yuga. People tend to take small things away. In this age, many unscrupulous men manufacture their own religious faiths which are not based on any revealed scriptures and are very often people who are very often people are addicted to sense gratification, are attracted by such institutions. Why? Because they offer, what do they offer? Sense gratification. In the name of religion, basically what do they offer? Sense gratification. Like we see animals, they do eating, sleeping, mating different. So their body is meant for what? Sense gratification. Can you tell a cow or a dog, you put some fresh vegetables or some drinking milk for the dog? Say, wait, when I tell you, then only you come. Unless the dog is trained, otherwise he will not. Until how long he can hold? You tell a human being, Prabhuji, prasad 1 घंटे के बाद है. What will he do? He'll get into some other work. So, human body is meant for tapasya. If we use this human body for these basic needs of sense gratification or only for sense gratification, then we will be given a lower body. Let us not forget that, Gajendra is a lower body, but in his previous life, what was he? He was a devotee. He was a devotee of the Lord. So we should not be in this illusion, oh, it's okay to sleep longer, it's okay to just engage in sense gratification. Anyway, I'm chanting Hare Krishna. Anyway, I'm in the mission of the Lord. Prabhupada will protect. Yes, definitely Prabhupada will protect, but we should not forget that there are laws in spiritual life. We keep sleeping like this, if we keep eating like this, we keep trying to defend separately by accruing some money for ourselves, what will happen? We may get lower forms, but the fortune is that we will not forget our devotional service to the Lord. So at least we have a saving grace that Prabhupada and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will bless us not to forget Krishna consciousness. But that doesn't mean that we take it for granted. We should be very serious. Any other body forms of which devotees have taken of animals? Jada Bharat. Then generally Rakshasas take lower forms, Bakasura, Vritrasura. Another form is devotee, Vritrasura. Asura got because he was cursed by mother Parvati. Prahlad man? He was a family of Asura. He did not get an animal form. So that also rings some bells for us. We should be very cautious in our devotional life. Let us not be carried away by the urges of the body. And Prabhupada says, if we keep regular habits and eat simple food, we can maintain good health for performing devotional service. Consequently, in the name of religion, so many sinful activities are being carried on that the people in general have neither peace of mind nor health of body. There is no peace of mind and there is no health also. So if you properly follow Bhagavad Dharma, you will have a good body and you will have also peace of mind where you can take spiritual anxiety. Peace doesn't mean Om Shanti. Peace means we are taking spiritual anxiety. We are pushing ourselves. We are not in the bickering mood. Nahi Prabhu, ye nahi hai, wo nahi hai, ye hoga, wo hoga, tohi devotional service karo. That's not the mood. Prabhupada and Krishna will give us opportunities where to work out of our skin, to push ourselves out of our limits, from our comfort zone. The student, brahmachari communities are no longer being maintained and householders do not observe the rules and regulations of Grihastha ashram. What is one of the regulations of a Grihastha ashram is to call out loudly outside, anybody hungry? Please come. Now so they put beware of dog. You're not welcome at all. So they're not proper Grihasthas at all. Prabhupada was always recalling his father used to feed the rats in his own office. He had this garment business. He used to keep, because poor rats, they're also hungry. They also feel hungry. So the tantamounting effect of their hunger is they will start chewing on the fabric. So his father was very intelligent and had, of course, not only intelligent, he was a Vaishnava, pure devotee of the Lord. He felt compassion and he used to keep something for them so that they would come, just take and then go. He never put some rodents, let us kill them. So why we have to kill is because Prabhupada also says it is a last resort, they are affecting the deities. It's a last resort. So if we keep ourselves clean, then we'll keep ourselves free from diseases. The very fact that we had to do so much of pest control here a few days back is because we are not keeping ourselves clean. Certain food products are just kept openly hanging around. Nobody puts covers. I remember last time when Maharaj came here, he pointed out, hey, this is not covered. So the devotee who has taken prasadam, what has he done? He has taken the plate, but he has forgotten to cover. Many times it's happened. It's just an unclean habit. We are not conscious of these cleanliness habits. Brahmanas are very conscious. Many times some devotees say, Prabhu, why you are so too much behind this kind of things? Actually, it's a fact. Otherwise, where are the Brahmanical qualities in you? And when will you practice those Brahmanical qualities? When you see these kind of things, it helps us to practice Brahmanical qualities. Especially when a senior devotee shows us, Maharaj was showing. And all the leads are there only. It's not that it was not there. That clearly shows the leads were there. But lazy, manda. Nature of Kali Yuga people they are manda, lazy. So they can't hold and put on this. Cover the prasadam. Some insect will sit on it. Some other devotee is coming late. He will have. So that's the whole point. We are so much self-centered. We are all in our own world only. That's why spirituality is not hitting us strongly. These instructions are not hitting us strongly. So that's why Prabhupada says we are sadhakas. We must practice these things seriously. Last portion of the purport. Consequently, the so-called vanaprasthas and sannyasis who come out of such grihastha ashrams are easily deviated from the rigid path. Actually, if you read all the rules, regulations of vanaprasthas and sannyasis, hairs will stand on. Very difficult. Very difficult. Very strong though, because the whole varnashrama system was tapasya. Tapasya for what? Tapo divyam uttaraka yena suddhyet sattva. To come to sattva guna, to come to suddha sattva, it is not easy thing. Many times they think नहीं ये life में हम back to God चले जाएंगे. कैसे जाएंगे भाई? Unless you qualify yourself well, how will you go back home back to God? So very clearly it is said, they are following rigid path. In Kali Yuga, the whole atmosphere is charged with faithlessness. People don't have faith on scriptures. People don't have faith on spiritual master, genuine spiritual master, and genuine process also. Men are no longer interested in spiritual values. So Bhagavatam class is going on. When Prabhu will finish? Not interested in spiritual values. We're just thinking when will. Instead of hearing with rapt attention, what are we doing? When will finish? It's the nature of the mind. So men are no longer interested in spiritual values. Material sense gratification is now the standard of civilization. People are more interested how many cars you are increasing. Recently I was just seeing one news article. Zomato shares have increased 123%. So in their office in Gurugram, big, very expensive vehicles are there. They mentioned 4 very expensive vehicles. So what do people think? This is the standard of civilization. Material sense gratification. If you get money, what you should do? Purchase vehicle. If you get money, what you should? Purchase house. If you get money, what you should do? Purchase dogs. Keep dogs. On the contrary, in the spiritual Vedic civilization, if you get money, what do you do? Build temples. If you get money, what do you do? Build goshalas. If you get money, what you should do? Do annadan. See, spiritual advancement, because people used to know what is the purpose of dan. It's meant for purification, and purification can only happen if there is a spiritual value to it. For maintenance of such material civilizations, man has formed complex nations and communities, and there is a constant strain of hot and cold wars between these different groups. So there is always this comparison, no? Quarterly results, kitna crore profit, then after next quarter results. Quarter basically means how many months? 3 months. Every 3 months. What's happening? Every 3 months you're being judged. Recently 26-year-old lady has died out of work stress in Pune. So much work stress. On the contrary, for devotees, no work only. Again, that is Maya. Why? No work. There is work stress, which is another extreme of Maya. There is no work at all. That is another extreme of Maya only. So there has to be a middle thing. That means we have to have stress, spiritual stress. We should take anxiety for the purpose of spreading this mission of Srila Prabhupada and Chaitanya. It has become very difficult, therefore, to raise the spiritual standard due to the present distorted values of human society. Earlier, now, did you see the connection? What is Prabhupada saying? It has become very difficult, therefore, to raise the spiritual standard due to present distorted values of human society. So that means what? Prabhupada is connecting to the previous statement. No longer interested in spiritual values. So here, due to the present distorted values of human society. What is their distorted values of human society? Material sense gratification is the standard of civilization or the standard of life. Whereas in the earlier, spiritual realization was the standard of life. The sages of Naimisharanya are anxious to disentangle all fallen souls, and here they are seeking the remedy from Srila Sutta Goswami. So we also trying to be sages. Of course, we are not Naimisharanya sages, but yes, we are all spiritualists. We are all disciples of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. We should seek these remedies from Srila Prabhupada of how to preach Krishna consciousness to this materially afflicted civilization, which is killing itself. That's why it is said, without compassion we cannot preach. That's why we have to borrow that compassion. We have to read Prabhupada's books. We have to associate with Srila Prabhupada and get that spiritual compassion. How to preach Krishna consciousness to this civilization which is being affected by the by the effects of Kali. So I'll stop here. Any devotees have any questions? Any comments? Srila Prabhupada ki Grantara Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. Thank God.